Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Keith with the Tulsa Moto Club, and in today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most useful tools you can have in your shop when it comes to the world of motorcycle wiring. So let's just get right into it. So the time is quickly approaching when I'll have to wire up the SR250. And like a lot of you, I'm completely lost when it comes to the electrical side of motorcycle building. I mean, how can you not be intimidated by it when a lot of the older bikes out there have wiring harnesses that are just a big tangled mess that have probably been hacked to bits already? Now sometimes you may get lucky and the wiring on your project bike may already be in perfect condition. I, however, am not that lucky. And as I mentioned, I'm totally lost at this. I mean, I can kind of read a wiring diagram, but what happens when I don't have one? How does a multimeter work? Volts, amps, ohms, AC, DC, what does all that stuff mean?
Whoop-de-doo! What does it all mean, Basil?
It's definitely a lot and I need some help. Thankfully, my best friend happens to be an electrical engineer. Aaron here is going to help me with the wiring on the SR build. And over the course of a few different videos, we hope to teach you all a thing or two. And in today's video, Aaron's going to cover some of the basic tools that you need to get started with all this stuff, as well as how to use those things. So let's not waste any time and just jump right into it.
Hey guys, typical motorcycles run off a 12-volt system, which will include your ignition system, which will vary by manufacturer, and then your stator and your ignition coils.
Also, don't forget the rectifier.
And you also have your accessories, such as your headlights, your turn signals, and your switches. So with any project, you're most likely going to run into electrical issues. Your best tool to troubleshoot that is going to be a digital multimeter, or DMM.
Digital multimeters are pretty great. You're going to be able to do quite a bit of things with them. The three most important things you can do when it comes to motorcycle building is that you'll be able to test for a connection, check the voltage, as well as test power. But I'm not the right person to explain all that. Aaron's a lot smarter when it comes to that stuff, so I'll go ahead and let him explain it all to you.
It's kind of your standard multimeter. So this will measure voltage, resistance, and then it'll also tell you if you have a connection or not. This one also does AC current. It unfortunately does not do DC current. So the main settings you'll probably use are voltage, and primarily for automotive you're going to use DC voltage, which is this symbol here. You've got two voltage settings on here. One is for DC, which is the straight line and the dash underneath, and then AC is the tilde line. And you can see it says DC currently, and it's set to auto. Essentially what auto means is that it'll automatically read the correct voltage range. Right now it's trying to read millivolts. When you're measuring, say, a 12-volt battery, this will change to just volts. You set it to AC, again it'll say AC on the setting, and it's also set to auto. This symbol is ohm, the ohm symbol. It's a Greek symbol. This is how you measure resistance. Typically you probably won't be using this for testing automotive applications. And this is your diode setting. This little triangle with the line is the diode symbol. Below you can see it's kind of a secondary function. If you press B, or blue in this case, it'll put you into the sound output. So if you're testing for a connection between 2 points, you can use these two probes, one on either end of the connection, and if you hear sound, then you know that connection is solid. If you don't hear a sound when you're connecting those two, then you know it's unconnected. There's possibly a break in line or something like that.
So a big benefit of being able to test continuity with a little audio beep is great, because if you have a wiring harness that is just like a Frankenstein mess of a wiring harness that you don't know what's what and no wires match or anything like that, you can use this setting in order to trace down just where power is going and start to be able to identify what connects to what, and then you can start labeling things out. So in the instance that you don't have a manual that shows your wiring diagram or anything at all and you have nothing to go on, you can do this and just figure it out.
So you can see here this got two wires coming off the starter solenoid, and I want to make sure that these connections are making a connection all the way through the wire loom. So I've got blue with white stripe and a red with white stripe, and I know that they go to this right control connector. Got them right here, red with white, blue with white. Stick one probe to the blue with white stripe. And with my multimeter set to the diode setting, and I've got the secondary option to make a beep sound when a connection is made. Connect the other end, the other probe, to the blue with white stripe terminal. With the beep and the sound, I know that there is a solid connection between those 2 points. Likewise, with the red with white stripe, there's no beep, even though they're connected. So there may be a problem with this connection right here. So that one we can further walk up the line and see where that issue is.
Now it should be mentioned that there are several different styles of multimeters. Pretty much most of them do the same basic functions, however there are some that do things that others can't. And there are some that even work in conjunction with others.
So this is another style of multimeter. This one reads a little bit more. So we have the same DC voltage range. This one you have to manually select the range that you're going to be in. It does not automatically detect the range. So we've got DC voltage, we've got AC voltage, and then over here we've got DC amps or DC current. This is really nice for testing how much current is passing through a circuit. The only thing to know about this is if you go down here, you have to remember to swap the positive lead into the current setting. So for voltage, you'll have a separate input into the multimeter, and for current, you'll have a secondary input.
Testing voltage is actually super easy to do with a multimeter. Theoretically, anything that's connected to the battery is going to be drawing power, and all you need to do in order to test that is make sure that your multimeter is set to the correct setting and connect the leads to both the positive and negative ends. I'll just let Aaron demonstrate and explain it a lot better than I could.
So if you know the polarity, go ahead, stick the red terminal to positive, black terminal to negative, and you'll get a positive readout, 9.8. If you don't know the polarity, that's fine. You can stick it in either way. It'll still give you the same absolute. It's just if it's backwards, it'll give you a negative value. So in a typical circuit, to measure current, the DMM needs to be in line with the circuit. So you need to break one half of the connection on one side of the load. And you'll complete the connection through your DMM to measure current. This is drawing 3.76 amps.
So Aaron told us what parts on a motorcycle need to have power and how to use a multimeter to check those parts to see if they're not just receiving power, but if they're receiving the right amount of power. It's inevitable that most project bikes are going to have some issues when it comes to the electrical system. In the future electronics videos that Aaron and I make, we're not only going to show you how to repair any kind of problems that you might run into, but even how to build a whole wiring harness just from scratch. But first we have to knock the basics out of the way. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let me know down in the comments, and if you liked it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to do that too, so you don't miss out on any of these future videos that we put out. And while you're here, here are a couple other videos you can check out as well. And as always, thanks for watching. Later.
Just tested current with like a open wire.
Yeah.
No big deal.
It's no big deal, man.